What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Here's the Deal. We are now officially on episode 16. I am your host, Michael White, always here with one of my best friends in the world. David, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's good, y'all? What's good? We racking up these episodes, man. Episode 16.
Episodes is adding up quick, man. It's quick consistency. I like it.
Yeah. Before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor for today. Our first official sponsor is Yamble. That's a new sporting prediction app. Again, that's Yamble with gamble with a Y. They pay out real cash every game to the top 3 winners. I've played the game a couple times. It's a fun app. It's fun giving out your real time predictions, seeing how it plays out. It's really hard to get in that top 3. So go out there, go ahead, download that app again. That's Yamble, Yamble, and make some money on your real time predictions. But now let's talk about the NBA Finals. At this moment, the games are we finished up game 1 and game 2. It's a 1-1 series, and we're heading back to Oracle. So, what are your thoughts on game 1? I believe the Raptors won that game. What are your thoughts on it?
My first initial thought was the Raptors did exactly what I thought they would do in game 1 and come out. It's opening night in Toronto and Jurassic Park. It's the first game in the NBA Finals. The crowd is going nuts. They came out and did exactly what I thought they would do, is punch Golden State in the mouth. They were very aggressive. Siakam dominated the game. It didn't matter who was on him. Draymond, Steph was barbecue chicken. Siakam dominated them in game 1. 32 points from him. Then you got 20 points from Marc Gasol. So whenever you can get that type of production for some other guys outside of Kawhi, who struggled from the field, then 9 times out of 10, the Raptors are going to win that game. But like I said, Kawhi struggled from the field, but defensively, he was still as stout as ever. And the Raptors hit threes. That was big last night. They hit a lot of open threes. Danny Green, we finally see a Danny Green sighting. I don't know. he was struggling all last series. That's why Fred Van Fleet was getting more time than him. But finally, Danny Green come in. He's hitting shots. Van Fleet is playing excellent while we're speaking on his name. Like we said, ever since he had his child, man, the dude's been excellent from 3. He had 15 points, I believe, in game 1. So it was just a total team effort. And that was the good Raptors. That was the Raptors that I thought could make the finals and that came to show up, even though they've been a little inconsistent. So that was a great game by the Raptors. What did you think about game 1?
Game 1 was cool. Your X Factor came to show out. Pascal Siakam dropping that 32. Hey, I wasn't expecting it, but you definitely called it. You called it right. Draymond came out with a triple-double. Usually the Warriors don't win when that happens, but having all those role players play a great factor. Like you said, Kawhi struggled, but he was able to get to the free throw line. So other than his shooting from the floor, he still was able to be effective, still dropped 23 points. So definitely played good other than his shooting night. I think the Warriors are having Boogie out there game 1, it kind of hurt them a little bit, seeing it's his first action in over a month, I want to say. So seeing him out there that first time, it kind of took him some time to get adjusted to playing in the NBA Finals, being he only played a game of playoffs before that, before he went down with the injury. So seeing him out there, he was moving kind of slow, but he started getting it going near the end. As far as the Splash Brothers, game 1, they didn't play their best. The Raptors did a really good job of defending them. Steph, he shot well for the most part, but other than that, I don't think he had the best game, if you ask me. I don't think that he dropped 34, 5 and 5. I don't think he played his best game of basketball by any stretch of the measure. Fred VanVleet does a great job of guarding Steph. That's one of the biggest takeaways I took from game 1.
Yeah, I would agree. Fred VanVleet, he was everywhere. He was tipping passes. He was playing great defense. The Raptors as a whole were just playing great defense. And that's what usually leads to easy buckets for them in transition, and that's where Siakam was doing a lot of his work as well, as in transition and getting easy buckets like that. So game 1, some people were saying it was going to be a sweep and all this, and I was like, I don't know how you guys see a sweep with a team like this, especially when Golden State isn't 100%.
Yeah, they were tripping on that one. This Toronto team is not getting swept. They got too much fighting on there. They're actually pretty well coached, so they're going to make the adjustments to make this a competitive series. But speaking on what you just talked about, the transition points, let's head over to game 2, because that's where I think Golden State made the biggest adjustment. They were able to stop Toronto and get in transition. So what do you think was the difference in game 2? Why the Warriors were able to win it, and just how do you think Toronto's going to respond after losing game 2, being that they did have home court advantage and there's so many of these Warrior players hurt, which I'm sure we'll get into. Where do they go next? How do they see themselves after losing game 2 of the finals, which is very pivotal if you ask me. I think they really need to capitalize on game 2 of the finals.
Well, looking at it, Golden State was better in transition defense. That's where they were horrible in game 1. This time in game 2, they didn't let those guys leak out. They didn't let them get easy baskets, and they tried to force everything half court. Draymond Green, he got torched by Siakam in game 1. He took it upon himself to say, that's my fault. He won't do that again. And then in game 2, Siakam comes out, goes 5 of 18. Draymond Green locked that up. So right. it was just a total better effort defensively. It seems like that game 1 loss really woke the Warriors up. And, of course, Klay Thompson was hot early before he got hitting every single shot. Like, Klay Thompson, he has no handles, like 0 handles. But if he just gets it in his hands and he is able to go up, doesn't matter the angle. Like, he's starting to make a lot more fadeaways now and all types of things from the mid-range. So Klay Thompson is an excellent player. So he was keeping them alive, keeping them in it early, especially in that game when the Raptors went on a little run. And then Steph Curry, does what Steph Curry does, just starts hitting threes from everywhere. So that was the big thing for me. It's just the transition defense improved. And also the Warriors, their ball movement improved drastically from game 1. Mm-hmm. In game 2, they had 34 assists compared to compared to the Raptors 17. So that just showing that they're moving the ball, their rotations were there. In game 1, the Raptors were stopping all that. That first rotation, that second rotation, they were stopping all that. In game 2, that wasn't the case. So as far as looking at it from the Raptors side of things, I think they're fine. This is a veteran team with a lot of veteran heads, with a lot of guys who've been in the finals before. Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, Danny Green, a lot of guys who've been through a lot of playoff battles, Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry, even Siakam to a lesser degree. So I don't think their confidence is rocked, like Paul Pierce said after the game. I think, hey, they understood that we're going against the world champions. This is the 5th time they've been to the finals in a row. So we're going to lose some games, but I think, they have the capability to win a game on the road. So I don't think their confidence is shot. They did lose home court, and I'm sure they would have loved to have it. But with the way these injuries are starting to pile up, and even still, they found themselves with almost a steal away from being able to win game 2. I think that they're feeling okay about where they're at.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Raptors have a lot to be, positive about. But looking back at game 2, I think Boogie Cousins' appearance has been huge for the Warriors. Him coming back, being how Klay went out in that second half of that game with that hamstring injury, I think he was huge. Able to be able to fill those minutes. Having just somebody that you can dump the ball to, having another great pass out there, because Steph and Klay, when they're at their best, they're moving off the ball. They're not necessarily having the ball in their hands all the time, even though Steph can do that. But I think they're at the best when Draymond's setting them up, when Boogie's setting them up. So I think having those two there, having Draymond and Boogie there was huge for Steph, because you saw after Klay went out, they were double teaming the mess out of Steph after that.
They was running a box and one on him.
Right. It was crazy.
They had one person up there, everybody else just looking, because nobody else was a threat. He was literally by himself. They ran a box and one on an NBA court. That's a no-no.
I mean, that's respect to Steph on that. It's like, hey, you try and get the ball out of his hands. I think they over-exaggerated it, and they did end up paying the price. And I mean, if you ask the coach and the nurse, he'll say every time we'll live with that shot that Iggy hit near the end, because they left him wide open. What I tell you coming into the series, as long as the Raptors don't do what the Rockets did and leave these NBA players wide open for threes, they'll be fine. But hey, they continue to leave him wide open. You're going to continue hitting these shots. Like, I've seen Iggy hit way too many big shots. I heard a couple of players after the game saying he's like the modern day Robert Ory. I believe Chauncey Billups said that. Jalen Rose said it today. I don't agree with that at all, because Robert Ory, I believe he's a better player than Andre Iguodala, especially if we're talking about clutchness. But I definitely do agree. Iguodala is huge for this team. He's been huge for the last few years. But I think Draymond, he made. I don't know who's gonna win Finals MVP if the Warriors win it, man. Because Boogie's coming back. I don't think he'll win it, but he's been playing great. I think Game 2 he might have been the MVP of that game. Steph, he's been playing good, but not his best. Draymond might average a triple double, and I think Clay was on route until this injury. So I don't know who's gonna win MVP if the Warriors do win it. They're all playing pretty good. It's gonna come down. It's gonna come down to whether or not Steph can get his shooting going. I think. You brought up Clay. And how he starts off hot. I think he's very huge to how this team starts off. Because when Steph doesn't have it going, Clay is like the only player on that team that it doesn't matter what the score is. He'll shoot the ball like it's 0-0 every time. He'll keep you in any game. He gets hot better than any player in the league. He'll score 20 points in a quarter. It's like he's the perfect player for this Warriors team. When they don't have it going, he seems to always bring that energy for them.
Yeah, Klay Thompson, that's just what he's a spark plug. He's a microwave. Like once he gets going, once he gets a few good looks at the basket, he gets that team flowing. And, because his ability to catch and shoot from literally anywhere at any point of the court, off a screen, off a pin down, off whatever, coming around the corner, it doesn't even matter. That, like, as soon as he gets it, he's straight up with it, and it's almost good every time. So having a guy who can generate so many points like that without having to dribble, it almost keeps everybody on their toes. They want to screen for him. They want to get him open. They want to, like guys like Looney and Bogut, this is what they love to do. They come in the game and set screens all night long for guys like Klay Thompson. So I agree with you. Once he gets going, the team generally starts to get going too, and that's why I think they're going to go ahead and just max him out this summer and go ahead and make sure they keep that original Splash Brother. Just his ability to get up points in bunches like that is amazing. Mm-hmm. But you said who would win the Finals MVP if the Warriors won? And I'm starting to look at what you're saying. And Draymond Green, 10-10-10 in the loss in the first game. This past game, I think he had something like 17, 11, and 9, almost another triple-double. This is starting to look very reminiscent of the 2016 finals.
Yeah.
He was snapping like game 7. I think he had like 38 points, 15 rebounds, something like that.
Yeah, he had a better line than LeBron in that game. Like.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it'd be far-fetched for Draymond Green to, have some heavy consideration for it. Thing about that is, what is that going to – let's say the Warriors win this, right? They win this series. If Draymond Green and not Steph Curry wins a Finals MVP, what does this say about Steph? I mean, at some point, you got to get a Finals MVP, right?
Hey, glorified role player. That's what I've been trying to tell people. He's a glorified role player, man. I'm not serious when I'm saying that. I do think he is a little overhyped. When it comes down to these playoffs, like you saw at the beginning of the game, I think he was hungover or something. Drake had him out too long. I don't know what was happening, but he came out. He wasn't feeling it. And it's like he does that thing where he just starts. He doesn't make excuses verbally, but his face, him going back to the locker room, like you see the excuses build up, kind of like that LeBron type of thing. And I don't like to see that from a star player. I like for you to just go out there and play. But if Draymond was to win this Finals MVP or like Clay, for Steph's legacy, I think it definitely takes another hit. Like, it's one thing to lose a Finals MVP to KD. Like, you can lose a Finals MVP to KD. Iggy the first time, I think he is well deserving. Some people would argue Steph, but if he was to lose this one with KD being out, I think it'd be a huge blow. He wouldn't be able to recover from this one unless they were to go another 2 times and he'd get 2 straight MVPs without KD being there, something like that. But it definitely would be a huge blow. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be another ding on his legacy. The biggest ding against Steph Curry is simply people don't believe he always performs in the playoffs, especially in the finals. I mean, he's had a finals where he almost averaged a triple-double, but Kevin Durant was just that much more amazing that he didn't win that finals MVP. And then he had a pretty good first finals, but then Iggy was the guy on LeBron who held him to 33% shooting or something like that. So they gave it to him. So this is the gift and the curse of being on a team like the Warriors. Klay Thompson is experiencing this. He's not making any All-NBA teams. You're going to have to make some small sacrifices in places, and people are going to say some things that might not necessarily be true. People, look down on Kevin Durant like crazy right now, but we all know he has potential to be a top 5 player ever, regardless of the way he got his ring. So it comes with the territory of being on a great team, and I think Steph understands that, but unfortunately, I think it will ding his legacy because that's how we view things as fans. So
yeah, exactly. It's one thing to get there because at this point we kind of know the Warriors are going to the finals. So it's like once he gets there and he's not winning these finals MVPs, it's like I can't give you all the credit for the way this dynasty has been being built. Like, yeah, they built the team around Steph. That is very true. And some will argue he's not their most important player still, even with the team being built around him. So it's definitely interesting to look at. Steph is the hardest player in my mind to rank. He can be a top 15, top 10 player, or he can be just a top 25 player, which is still great, but it's just hard to rank him if you ask me, because he's played on such a great team throughout, I guess, the prime of his career, you'd call it. I don't think Steph is going to have a long career, which is, I don't want to wish any injuries on the man or anything like that, but you see how his ankles hold up. He's not a physical player by any stretch of the imagination. So the way he'll play is, I think once he starts to slow down a little bit, he'll still be able to shoot and everything, but he'll definitely slow down as a player in this Warriors dynasty. If KD leaves this year, Iguodala retires, which I think may happen. This Warriors team, if Steph can keep that going, then we can have some real conversations, and then hopefully he can get his Finals MVP. But right now, not having that, like you said a couple episodes ago, that's the only accolade he doesn't have. So if he's able to get that, that will change the conversation. Kind of how they looked at Kobe. I'm over here watching the 2001 Kobe series. So looking at how he played with Shaq and things like that, that was one of the knocks on his career. Even though he was averaging 30 throughout that finals, it's just a couple things that, us as fans, we look at. You should have a Finals MVP if you are one of those top 10 players and things like that.
It sounds like you flipping your opinion, because I could have sworn you easily had Steph Curry ranked as the second best point guard of all time. And now he's hard to rank. Which one is it now?
He is hard to rank. He is hard to rank, but I'm not flip flopping. He's still the second best point guard. But that's because the point guard position it lacks. The point guard position is one of your more weaker positions until this generation, I think. So with all these new point guards coming in, Dame still has a lot of time. Kyrie still has a lot of time. They may be able to be better than Steph, I think, but up to then it was more so John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, and there's a gap after that. Yeah, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, but the point guard position hasn't had as much competitions as the other positions, so that's why he's able to be second to me. So if we're looking at all-time player for player, he's 15th. I think he's top 15 personally, but hey, it's hard. It's hard. If he doesn't win this Finals MVP, it's crazy to say you would take somebody down in your top players, but I don't know, man. I don't know. If they still win, that's the thing. If they still win, you can't be mad at it too, because he takes so much pressure off his other teammates. Like looking at that shot, Iguodala shooting wide open, and that's only due to Steph at that point. Only due to Steph and Boogie, and it's just hard to rank him because even when he doesn't have stats, he still makes an impact on the court too.
Yeah, that's just his ability to shoot from where he can shoot from. That's just what that does. You have to spread your defense out. It spreads you out thin, and it makes all types of passing lanes. So credit to Steph and his talent. That's just dedication right there. But let's keep driving forward and look at a couple of these key injuries from the playoffs, because there's a lot. It seems like the Warriors are losing players like crazy. Klay Thompson goes up. By the way, he was looking for a foul. He kicked his leg out.
Oh, yeah.
I never wish no injury on nobody, but that was his fault. But he came down awkwardly, and I think he pulled his hamstring, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's hamstring.
Yeah, he pulled his hamstring. So that's an injury they have going on right now. Obviously, we see that Iguodala's been hampered, sometimes barely getting up the court. He took a hard screen from Marc Gasol, so they have that injury going on. Boogie is the one who has returned from injury and is playing he played okay in game one, wasn't much. Then Steve Kerr made that decision to start him in game two, which was a little controversial, but he actually came out and played okay. But I'll pose it to you like this. With the injuries starting to pile up on the Warriors, Kevin Durant still out, Clay with hamstring tightness now, Steph a messed up finger here and there. Do you think these injuries are going to come back and bite them, or are they going to be able to hold on to beat the Raptors?
I think these injuries are going to have a huge effect on this series because if they do not have Klay Thompson out there, it really limits their shooting. I already think their shooting is kind of put into three players right now between Steph, KD, and Klay. If they don't have two of those players on the floor, as great as a shooter Steph is, he's going to see a lot of that man in box. Like he's going to see double teams wherever he goes. So he's not going to be able to get up those threes. Granted, the other players, they'll have opportunities, but I don't think there'll be enough to win a complete game against the Raptors. Like they were able to win game two because Klay was out, I want to say, just for the fourth quarter. So, I mean, you can hold on for a quarter, but to hold on 2 or 3 games with a hampered Klay, because with Klay, he depends on a lot of movement. It's not like he can just post somebody up and score. He depends on that hamstring. He's going to have to use that hamstring in some way. So even if he's out there, which I think he will play, he's questionable for game 3 they just ruled. So he's a tough player. Klay's one of those players. He has to have a broken ankle if he's not going to be out there. So I definitely think he will play, but I think 85%, 80% Klay, which maybe, kind of on the better side because it is a hamstring injury. You don't want to play with those. But if he's out there, I think that's going to have a huge effect on the series. I think the Warriors, if they don't have Klay and KD, it's a wrap for them. I think they may win, the Raptors may win this in 6 if that's the case.
Yeah, for me, when I look at these injuries and we see that when Klay went out for those last 8 minutes, 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, there was a stretch in there where the Warriors could not score for like almost 3 minutes straight.
Yeah.
If he's unable to go next game or he's hampered, he's nowhere near at the level he should be, that's going to create some problems. We saw Toronto, just like I said, went to that box and won, put one guy aggressively on Steph Curry, which preferably Van Fleet was out there, who's been playing great defense, we said, and everybody else just kind of play at the elbows and the short corners down there. Look, it's going to be tough for the Warriors to keep this up. Now, they held on and won the game, but are we going to count on the Raptors to miss as many open shots as they did in game 2? I don't know. The Raptors have their inconsistency issues that we'll get in a little bit later, but it's going to be tough for me to see this Warriors team. Like, how many shots can you take to the body? It's like a box. Mm-hmm. How many punches can you take before eventually you get knocked out? They're missing KD. Klay's hamstring is gone. What's Iggy? We don't know if he's going to make it through a whole game at this point. Cousins is still nowhere near in the shape he wants to be. I think he played 28 minutes last night, which was huge, but he's nowhere near 100%. And then if you rush these guys back and they get re-hurt, it's almost like Steve Kerr has to balance what's more important right now, the long-term health of these guys or winning this championship. And obviously everybody's prioritizing winning. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Warriors to win with all these injuries, especially if the Raptors continue to be aggressive in their play style.
Yeah, I think Boogie's even more him coming back is even more important now because Kevon Looney, he's out for the rest of the series with that cartilage fracture. Kawhi Leonard decided to take a man out the other night, so he's out for the rest of the finals. Boogie being back, he's going to have to play a couple more minutes now. I mean, if he can give you between 25 and 30 minutes, which may be pushing 30 because coming off that quad injury, you want to re-injure him, but if he can give you that, then you'll be fine. But Kevon Looney had been playing great all postseason, so that's definitely a huge blow to them. I think now Andrew Bogut has to step in also and play a lot more minutes, and we'll see how that goes. Or they may have to just play more small ball, but it's very shaky for the Warriors right now, man. Very shaky. All these injuries going on. But Kerr's a great coach. He seems to have that next man up mentality where, hey, I could put Quinn Cook scored the most second half points from them last night. So if they get production from just any other player any given time, Sean Livingston, he's a vet. Maybe he can come and give you 8 points. So as long as they continue to have that mindset, I think they will have a chance, but it's gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, prayers out to Kevon Looney, man. Kawhi hit this man like a ton of bricks. Like, did you see the way he hit the ground?
Like Ray Lewis in his prime.
Yo, I was like, oh my God. And Looney's not a small dude. Looney's big. And he went flying like he got, man, that's
hit
bad.
With that Dante Wilder.
Yeah, that's bad. He got he got hit by Wilder. Like, he just crumpled up and fell to the floor. I was like, damn, I hope he good. But
prayers up there. Prayers.
That's tough. When Kevon Looney going out, he has been playing great. But I like that you brought up the fact about Bogut. Bogut looked like he never left when he got in. Instantly started getting some alley-oops, start setting his screens. That's the good thing about having veterans like that on your team who've been there and done that, especially a guy who played for this same team and won a championship. So, yeah, Bogut came in and played great. Quinn Cook, 3 big three-pointers like in a row when Toronto was trying to make a run. Like, when you get the role players on Golden State playing really well, I think even McKinney had a little floater in the lane. They're going to be tough to beat. And the Raptors, like I said, inconsistent, man. Just inconsistent. Like, granted, I know Draymond Green was on Siakam. He was locking that up. But this is the finals. You know, you got to find a way to score. You can't go from 32 points to 12. That's not going to do it, especially when Kawhi gives you 34. You know, so he got his bucket. So I need more from him. Gasol, I think he only had 6 points the other night after going 20 and 7. It's just inconsistent. I think Danny Green only had 6 points. This was the thing that I'm worried about with the Raptors. Now I picked them in 7, but this is what scares me about their team. Sometimes they can be so inconsistent. Kyle Lowry fouls out again and gets.
He has to play better.
He has to play better. He has to be consistent for them to win this series. And I'm sticking with them in 7, but this is definitely something I'm a little worried about going forward.
Yeah, Lowry was a minus 17 in 27 minutes, so he has to play better. Like, his 6th foul was so stupid to me. Like, just reaching for the ball all the way 94 feet away from the basket. He has to play better. He has to be a better point guard to me. So I think that the Toronto has a couple things that can make adjustments on. They shot how many threes they shoot last night? They shot 38 threes, which is out of character for them. They need to get that down more in the 25 to 30 range. I think that's more a good balance for their team where they shoot them, but they're not dependent upon the three-point ball. So Kawhi played good. He's still obviously dealing with injuries, but if he gives you 34, you should win that game. He has to have support from his supporting cast. He has to get support from his supporting cast. So that's really what it comes down to. Like you said, the inconsistency from Marc Gasol, how you go from 20 to 6, Siakam 32 to 12. So just off of that, you're losing 25 plus points. So they have to be better. They have to be better going into this next game. But with that being said, how about game 3 and 4? What are your predictions for game 3 and 4? Give me a team and give me a score. So start off with game 3.
All right. So game 3, I'm going to take the Warriors. I think they'll win something like 115 to 108. I think it'll be close until they pull away towards the end. I just think this opening game at Oracle, the last NBA Finals at Oracle, it's going to be electric, kind of reminiscent of Toronto in game 1. And I think the Warriors are going to feed off of that. No matter who's on the court, I think somehow they'll pull it off just being at home. Role players always play better at home, and they played pretty well on the road in game 2. So I'm going to take the Warriors in game 3, somewhere around 115 to 108. What about you in game 3?
Game 3, I have the Warriors as well. I have them winning 112 to 105. I think Draymond's going to have a huge game for this team. He knows he has to play great with Clay being out. So I think somehow he'll end up getting a triple-double. And he'll probably drop around 20 points to me. I think he knows he has to do this in Oracle. Boogie will have a huge game. Steph will be Steph. And somehow they'll pull out this game even though Clay's still kind of hurt, which I think he will play. But him being hurt and KD being out, I think the Warriors will find a way to win this game. Steve Kerr's not going to let them lose game 3. All
right, go ahead. Tell us what your game 4 predictions are.
Game 4, I got the Toronto Raptors. I got the Raptors in 7. So I got the Raptors have to win game 4 if that's going to come true. So I have them winning 103 to 99. So I got a pretty low scoring game in today's NBA. I think they'll end up locking down the Warriors for the most part with whoever's out there. Clay's out there. KD comes back. I think they'll still lock him up and they'll only score 99 points. The Raptors, it'll be a close game near the end, but Nick Nurse will make some key adjustments. They'll hold Steph to 22 points, just something like that. Around 22 points. He won't shoot too great from the field, and the Raptors will come out with a 103-99 victory.
Yeah, so for me, game 4, I got the Raptors winning that as well. I think after game 3, they'll take that, knock in the chin. They'll go back, they'll recalibrate, and they'll be ready for game 4. I think all the role players will come to play for them. I have the Raptors in 7, like I said, so this is a big game for them, but I think they'll take it, and I think they'll take it on the road because I think they're capable of winning a game in Oracle. And I don't think it'll be the first one, but I definitely think it'll be this one. I think Gasol's going to have a big game. I think Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet are going to be very key off the bench against those backups for the Warriors, and I think they're going to play well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the split. It's going to be 2-2 by the end of all of this.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I wanted to talk about, is this the best team that we've seen the Warriors play in the finals? So throughout this run they've been on these last 5 years, obviously they've been playing the Cavs up to this point, all 4 years leading up to this, playing those Cavs teams in the finals. Now they're actually playing a different team, this Toronto Raptors team. Do you think this is the best team they have faced throughout this entire run they've been on?
So we was talking before we got on there, and it's between these Raptors and the 2016 Cavs that beat them in 7. It's just tough. You got LeBron, hairline crisp at this point. Kyrie healthy, Kevin Love healthy. J.R. Smith was knocking down 40% of his threes. I think that maybe their starting lineup could have been better just because of how good LeBron is, and we know what Kyrie Irving was about then. But I think this might be the deepest team they've played in the Raptors. The Raptors 1 through maybe 9 or 10 they could probably put out there on the floor, honestly, and still get the same type of production. This team, even without Kawhi, I think, what was this team, like 17-5 without him this season? So they're a deep team. They're a talented team. They got one superstar, and everybody else is usually a B or a B plus player. So it's tough. It's between that. It's more, who do you prefer? Do you prefer the deeper team with Kawhi Leonard, or do you prefer the top heavy Cavs with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the deeper team. That's what I believe. I believe the Raptors are the best team they have played. With the Cavs, it was mainly focusing on those top 3 players. Granted, Tristan Thompson played great in that finals. JR did. Amon played some key minutes, but for the most part, like you said, they're a top heavy team. They were dependent upon LeBron and Kyrie to almost average like 30 those last few games of the finals. So going for 40 on the same time. Like, you don't never see that in the finals. It was great to see, but I don't think that was the best team the Warriors have played. And this Warriors team is a little bit different than that last Warriors team. They have Boogie Cousins now. They have KD. Obviously, they're not playing right now. Well, Boogie is playing, but KD's not playing right now. So it's a different look. The Warriors aren't as deep as a team as they were back then. Harrison Barnes is gone. So a lot has changed with the Warriors. But I think this Raptors team, I'd say they have to be the best team. I think they're the most defensive team they've played since at least the Memphis Grizzlies series a while back when they had Conley, Tony Allen, when the Memphis Grizzlies were up 2-1 in that series, I believe. So
Zebo, Gasol,
that's the first year that they went to the finals. So I think this is definitely the best defensive team they've played. Kawhi is a true superstar. The only thing is they don't have that guaranteed number 2 that the Cavs do have. So that's where it does get. But in a 7-game series, all I need 4 games and maybe like 3 games from some other players. Like I think Kawhi will wield his team to one of these wins, even if the supporting cast doesn't play great. But as long as he gets Pascal in that first game, he played great when Kawhi didn't have his best stuff. So they do have other options. Gasol's been playing great. Danny Green has championship experience. Ibaka off the bench. This team, like you said, they're deep, man. Like Kyle Lowry he needs to have a signature game in this series. It was a lot that the Cavs needed in order to win that series. So it was it was a mixture between them playing great and the Warriors also beating themselves and getting hurt with Andrew Bogut and Iguodala getting nicked up those last 2 games of the series. So there's a lot that kind of went into that Cavs and Warrior series during that time. The league kind of looked out, if you ask me, but it's a lot. I think this Raptors team would have to be the best, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say it's still up in the air right now. If after the series we can come revisit this topic, but I think it's still up in the air because we don't know what the Raptors are going to do yet. We don't know how long this is going to go or how they're going to finish. Now, I predict it'll end in 7, so I think if that does come, that does happen, then we would have to look at the Raptors as the best because we already know that they are the deeper team. Granted, that Cavs team did have a LeBron James, did have a Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Love and a Tristan Thompson and a J.R. Smith when these guys are really playing at a high level. So I'm more in agreement with you. I'm going to side with the Raptors, but I still think we need to wait and see what they do first and how they perform against the Warriors.
Yeah, if Kawhi wins this series, man, hey, we need to start having some real serious talks about him all the time, man. He would have took down Miami, that super team, and now he's taking down the Warriors super team. So, hey, Kawhi, go ahead and win this series, man, so we can have these conversations.
Yeah, Kawhi, look, man, Kawhi is walking some pretty legendary territory. He's real close to being, put into an upper tier, man. If you take down the Warriors, it doesn't even matter who's hurt. It's just the fact that you took down the Warriors. That's it. You took down
he takes him down. He's hurt himself. He would have won with 2 different teams, and I assume, it's looking like he's going to the Clippers. So even though he did just buy some property in Toronto, I just got a report about that earlier. So I don't know. He may stay, but I think he's going to go over to LA. And if he wins another championship in LA, that's 3 different championships and 3 different teams. So him only being 27 years old, he still, like you say, he has a long way to go. Still has a lot of career left, but if he just wins 1 or 2 more championships, man, hey, best of this generation, maybe. I don't know.
It's definitely a conversation to be had. Games 3 and 4, game 3 on Wednesday, game 4 on Friday, definitely going to be something to see. I'm ready for it. I'm eager to see where the series takes off after that. But let's move on off the NBA Finals and let's look at some NBA draft things that are going on around the league. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but the Knicks are supposedly in the talks of considering maybe trading out of their number 3 pick, trading down with maybe a team like the Hawks to get their 8th and 10th pick. So with that being said, I'll ask you this. If you were running the Knicks and you were in control, are you drafting R.J. Barrett or are you trading down for something else? Are you looking for maybe more vets to pair with maybe a Kevin Durant if you get him? What is your plan of action with that number 3 picks if you're running the Knicks?
If I'm the Knicks, I'm trying to get Anthony Davis any way possible. If I can bring him in, I'm almost guaranteeing that I can get KD or Kyrie. Obviously, the best way to do it would be to sign the players first and then go after Anthony Davis. But with the draft being first, I'm not sure if that will work in their favor. Shipping out draft RJ Barrett, ship him back to New Orleans, but he can play with Zion, and maybe New Orleans goes from there. If they don't end up doing that, I don't think you trade down. If you were to trade down and to get the Hawks picks 8 and 10, I do believe this is a pretty deep draft. A lot of teams are giving them credit. The players that are in this draft. I think if you have a top 8 pick, you're pretty safe for who you're drafting. Top 10, you're pretty good. You'll get somebody that will be a good player in this league, and you never know how it'll pan out. Sometimes the top picks aren't who you think they are. So I don't believe that'd be the best course option. If you do not trade for Anthony Davis, I just go ahead and keep RJ Barrett and try and make him, the star going forward in New York. I believe he can have some superstar talent eventually if he continues to develop, continues to get better as a passer, and he definitely has to develop his right hand. He's definitely dependent on his left hand right now, which isn't going to work in the NBA because, they expose that real quick. But I think you ride with RJ, you let him play out, first couple of years in New York, try and get some free agents around him, continue to draft well, continue to let great coaching continue to happen. Just continue to develop your young players and let RJ Barrett blossom to that star that I think he can turn into.
Right. For me, it just kind of depends on what happens in free agency and things of that nature. Like, are we getting Kevin Durant as the Knicks, or are we getting Kyrie? It's so hard to gauge it. But if I had to just make a decision right now, I'd probably go ahead and stick with RJ. You need some young, exciting talent in New York, and that's exactly what RJ is. Like you said, you think the draft is deep, and I think the draft is a lot deeper than people think as well. But I do believe there is a clear drop off after the third pick, between everybody else, 4 and down.
Yes.
So I just think being the Knicks in this position, you've missed on so many draft picks already. This one to me, is a no-brainer. You go with the guy that you should go with, R.J. Barrett. Bring him in, start working him. If KD comes and Kyrie comes, then okay, let's look at maybe moving him for an Anthony Davis package. We've heard that's been an attractive thing there. Maybe we can look at it then. But let's say you don't. Now you have a young star, someone you've got control over their contract for a little while, and it's a sizable amount of money, and who knows, they might blossom into a superstar. And he said he wants to be in a big market like New York. So I think you draft RJ Barrett. I'm not trading out of that pick.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You definitely you keep the stars. Like you said, they don't want to miss on another pick. New York has been through enough with the whole draft and not being able to get any free agents. So if you can get somebody that you think could be a star, you get them and you just go from there.
Yeah, I agree. But let's keep it on RJ Barrett to some other news that came out as I was scrolling my Twitter timeline. RJ Barrett has refused to work out with the Memphis Grizzlies. Gave him the cold shoulder. They said, "Hey man, you want to come in and show us your jump?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good." What do you think about this? Do you like this? Do you hate this? How do you feel about it?
Hey, he said, "Don't even think about it." I like it. Like I'm not gonna say I like it, but I'm not mad at it. If I'm RJ Barrett, I'm focused on either going to the New York Knicks or the Lakers if I can. Why wouldn't I want to play for them? I'd rather play with them than Memphis, and it's already kind of unfair being a college player. And yeah, you get the privilege of being in the NBA and everything. You don't get to pick your situation, but if I can influence where I go, I would like to do that. Every other job, you get to pick where you work. So if he can have any dictation of playing in LA or Memphis and he wants to play in LA, hey, don't go to the meeting. If they draft you, hey, you're going to have to play, but don't show them, the great talent that you believe you are, and they draft you number 2 and then you're mad at them. So if as much as he can control, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, he should be, grateful for them, extending their hands for being in the NBA when he does get drafted. If he does get drafted, yeah, sure, play for them. But I'm not mad at him turning down workout at all.
Yeah, this is the age of players having control at this point. This is it. LeBron James is one of the 4 founders of that. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. This is the age of player movement, player mobility, players going where they want to go. If you don't want to go to a city, don't work out for them. I think even 2017 draft, I'm a Laker fan, so I think like Lonzo Ball refused to work out for the Celtics and would only work out for the Lakers. So this is just what it's come to in the league. Players have more power and more control, and I don't have a problem with it. I think you should have control over where your career is going. Imagine somebody coming to your house telling you, "Hey, you're going to work here forever. You can't go nowhere else. That's it. They're drafting you. You're loyal to them forever. You can't leave." Some people would say, okay. Some people probably not feeling that. And then it's in Memphis, man. No disrespect to anybody in Memphis listening, but I don't think if I'm a young star, that would be on the top of my list as the team I want to go to, the Memphis Grizzlies. Like you said, Los Angeles Lakers, New York Knicks. These are the type of teams that I would be more interested because you just want to be in that bigger market for more opportunities, for more money. So I have no problem with it. I'm not surprised he doesn't want to go to Memphis. Why work out for him? For what? Why waste my time and energy? If I don't want to play for y'all, why am I going to work out for y'all? I have no problem with it at all.
Yeah, no incentive. No reason to do that. I'm not mad at RJ for doing that. But getting over to another RJ, somebody coming out of high school. So RJ Hampton decided to forego his college career and decided he'll start his professional career overseas. And he's getting a lot of backlash. I mean, not a lot of backlash. He's getting a lot of support rather for this decision. Um, Deciding to go overseas, play professionally instead of going to one of the major college teams. You get a lot more publicity. You get a lot more, people would say probably better coaching over here with somebody like a Coach K or Tom Izzo or something like that. But he's decided to play overseas. He's starting to take his career into his own hands. And I want to know how you feel about it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, first off, congratulations to RJ Hampton. Anytime a high schooler is taking that next step, he's a man now, so he's going to play ball professionally. So congratulations to him. I don't have a problem with it. Why not? We just got finished talking about how this is the era of players having power now, and he doesn't want to go to college. And I don't blame him. The way the NCAA is, these players don't get played. These players don't get paid, and the schools make all the revenue off of them, and they could get hurt at any point. I have no problem with him going overseas and wanting to, get paid. Why not? He's going to play for the New Zealand Breakers in Australia, and he's going to get paid, and he's going to be playing against grown men. So he's going to get a chance to play against some older people, who are bigger. It'll help him as far as getting to the NBA, and this is just another route that a lot of college students or, high school students, are coming up and taking. They're going overseas and they're trying out over there and they're getting paid. And not everybody wants to play for Duke or Michigan State, and not everybody gets the opportunity as well. So I have no problem with it. Much power to him, and I can't wait to see him play.
I couldn't agree more, man. Hey, I'm all for players getting their money. College ain't not going to pay you. It not really going to get you. I mean, it'll get you ready for the NBA, but there are other options to get you ready. Playing professionally overseas, you'll be fine. Playing against grown men, they'll teach you, some of the veteran tricks. Foreign players are probably just as good, if not better, than these college players. So he'll be fine over there. I think he'll with the scouting nowadays. They'll still be able to see the strengths in his game, kind of like with Luka. Like, people knew Luka was the real deal coming out of overseas. So if he's able to produce over there and tell you a lot about his game, hopefully he's ready for that. I will say that being an 18-year-old going overseas, it can't be easy. Different situation, playing against older people is not going to be easy for him at all. But if he's able to make that transition and be successful, and it's going to mean a lot for his NBA career going forward. So all the power to him. I wish him success. I hope he has a great, first year overseas, and hopefully he can make it to the NBA next year.
Right, I agree with that. But moving on back over to another NBA player. So earlier this week, news came out that Kemba Walker told Jared Weiss of The Athletic that going back to the Charlotte Hornets is his first priority for the offseason. So, David, with it looking like Kemba Walker wants to stay with Charlotte, well, what are your thoughts about that, and how does this impact free agency for other teams?
Kemba Walker, if him staying in Charlotte, I mean, he got 221 million reasons to stay. So I'm definitely feeling him on that, but it's gonna affect the pool. Like with the Lakers, gonna affect Utah, Dallas. A lot of teams were looking after him. The Knicks, like a lot of teams were looking after him. So not being able to have a go-to scorer like that, it's a deep NBA with point guards. So if he stays in Charlotte, I think he's at the age where he knows he's not going to win a ring there, especially with the contracts they have. It's not UConn. He's not going to be able to will them to a championship. So especially in this super team era. So for as far as free agency, it's one less player that's out there. He's probably the second tier players after KD, Kawhi, and maybe like Kyrie. But after them, you have Kemba and Clay, and take him out of there. Now you just it shortens the pool, and a lot of teams that were going after these players, it's one less player for them. Somebody's going to be left out, whether it be the Knicks, probably the Lakers, throwing that out there, the Clippers. Hey, there's a lot of teams looking for players. The Nets, so somebody's going to be left short. That's what it's telling me. The Charlotte, they'll be happy to retain their stars, still be able to sell out maybe not sell out their stadium, but sell tickets they'll be happy with that.
Yeah. First off, I mean, any player who wants to stay with the same team, I mean, how can you really knock that in a time where players are, players are constantly changing teams, and like you said, the super team era, players are trying to pair up. You rarely see that. You rarely see the Dirk Nowinskis or the Kobe Bryants or the Tim Duncans, the guys who just want to stay with one team. So I have no problem with him wanting to stay in Charlotte. It sucks because I'm sure some people want to see him playing for another team, another bona fide contender, and seeing what he could do on the big stage. But I mean, hey, well, can you knock a guy for staying somewhere that he loves? He really loves the city of Charlotte down here in North Carolina. So I have no problem with it. I mean, would I like to see my Lakers maybe take a swing at him? He wasn't the top of my list, but, going down the free agents as it's looking, my Lakers might strike out. He definitely would have been an option, but hey, he's eligible for that Supermax down there in Charlotte now, so that could also be another reason why all of a sudden he's feeling real homebody. Like, I'll stay.
Yeah, I'm good in Charlotte. Yeah. I mean, and he could be the best. I mean, he's probably the best Hornet to ever play, best Charlotte player to ever play. So he's not. I mean, you still have a legacy. You'll be remembered in the city. He'll be a legend regardless. So
definitely,
him being 29 years old, would you give him that max contract if you're the Lakers? I mean, it wouldn't be the super max, but would you give him the max contract, or would you try and negotiate with him?
Oh, you're saying from a Laker perspective?
Yeah, would you give him max, or would you try and negotiate?
I would try to negotiate with Kemba and just explain to him, hey, we
trying to win.
Hey,
trying to win.
Hey, that's exactly how you have to start this conversation. Be like, hey, check it. Listen to this. You're great, but you're not enough. And if we pay you this much, we're not gonna be able to get anything else. So yeah, we would have to break that down. But if I'm Charlotte, go ahead and give it to him.
Oh yeah. Charlotte. If you're Charlotte, you give them all 221, man.
I mean, no one else is coming to Charlotte, I doubt. So, I mean, why not pay the guy he's offering to stay there, like stay in Charlotte?
Yeah. And Jordan wants to keep him. So
yeah. So yeah. From a Lakers perspective, I would probably have to negotiate that out.
Yeah, I agree. But let's move on to our last topic of the day. I want to talk about being that we're in the NBA Finals. Let's talk about our personal 5 favorite finals that we've, been able to witness, or that we've gone back and watched games of, things like that. Things that, resonate with us. You being a Lakers fan, me being a Rockets fan, I'm pretty sure we'll have some of our personal teams up in here. But you want to start with your list, or you want me to start with my list? We'll just go down and then we'll talk about each individual, and then we'll go to the other one.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead and start it out.
All right. So being watching this Lakers versus Philadelphia series in the finals, look at this. Kobe and Shaq, 26 points apiece. 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They was going at it. But starting off with that, I'm gonna start with the Lakers. But the Lakers series that I'm gonna pick is the 2010 finals. They were playing the Celtics. They were down 3-2. It really showed me how much Kobe really had that dog in him. I mean, I'd already known he had that dog in him, but coming back against a super team like that, it was a very defensive series. So they came back down from 3-2, able to win both of those games. Kobe was able to redeem that finals loss that he had against the Celtics. It definitely was a top 5 finals to me. Kobe, he didn't play his best, but he played good enough like in Game 7, he did enough to where they were able to win. He grabbing 17 rebounds in that Game 7. It showed me that, hey, there's a lot of other things that you can do other than scoring. You can affect the game as well too. So that was definitely one of my favorite ones. The 2013 finals, the Heat versus Spurs. It's hard for me to put it up there as my favorite, but hey, I remember exactly where I was when Ray Allen hit that shot, man. I was in my boy's crib. We hit that shot. I was like, yo. Did he really just hit that corner? Like, that was a surreal moment to me. I think everybody who watched it kind of remembers where they were in that moment. It's one of those that you'll never forget. The Spurs won that. They were down 3-2 in that series too, the Miami. So the Spurs won that was pretty big. Is a pretty big moment as well. Also at the Cavs versus Warriors 2016 finals. Hey, there's nothing else to be said about that. Coming back down from 3-1. It's something that, you'll probably never see again. Kyrie, LeBron putting on the show. The Warriors 73-9, losing that series. So nothing really much to say there. Everybody knows what's up with 2016. But now let's get into. I had a 290 series in here. Of course, I had to throw in the Rockets series.
Of course.
Which one do you think I picked? The Magic series or the Knicks? Which one do you think?
The Magic.
Yeah, I sure did. Sure did pick the Magic series.
Easy money.
The first one was cool, but hey, 7 games, I can do without all that stress. Going back and watching, hey, the Knicks, I'll take the sweep. I'm sorry, against the Magic, I'll take the sweep. Where school Shaq, school Penny. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Seeing Hakeem go out there play, he's kind of at the peak of his powers at that point. So that was definitely my favorite series, giving the Rockets his second championship. Special moment for me, special moment. But my last one, I had the NBA Finals of 1993, the Bulls versus the Suns. Well, the Bulls were tough because I could have put them for 4 out of 5 of these series, going back and watching how Mike kind of dominated these series. So the reason I picked this one specifically against the Suns, Mike averaged 41, 9, and 6 throughout the series, which is unheard of. How you average 41 points in 6 games, which is just crazy. Going against Kevin. Yeah, that's straight dominant. And it really just showed me he mastered the game of basketball. And it starts to click in my head why he retired that first time, because he mastered the game of basketball. He said in his retirement interview that, hey, I don't have anything else to prove. I'm done with it. Let me go on something else. So him doing that in the finals, going against Kevin Johnson, Dan Majerle, and Chuck. Yeah, I mean, those are good players right there. So he went against a good team, and Mike just refused to go to a game 7. These games, a lot of his game 6s were close, but he would just will his team to a win in game 6, which is mind blowing to me. How that's kind of what I be wanting from LeBron now that I be watching him nowadays. But hey, that's why Mike's the GOAT to me. He's able to just will his team to wins when maybe not everybody else is having their best game, but I got this superhuman right here, and I'll just give him the ball. He'll take us there. So that's why I picked the Bulls versus Suns. I was thinking about the Jazz series, but I went with the Suns. I think that was Mike's best series. He really just dominated in all aspects.
I like the list. Decent list. Here we go. It's a decent list. We got some of the same games on there. And I'm going to have my Lakers up there, but I ain't going to start there. So here's my list. These are my favorite 5 finals of all time. So first, I'm going to start with the 98 Chicago Bulls beating the Utah Jazz, the team you were just talking about. For me, this finals was significant for me. This was the first finals I remember actually watching. I remember seeing all of these games with my dad, watching them in the living room growing up. I remember the game winner Jordan hit. This was I had always watched basketball, but this was the first time me really noticing everything that was going on and was able to somewhat keep up with it at a very young age. So that was significant finals to me. That was when I fell in love with the game. So that is my first favorite finals I have in there. The next one I have the Lakers beating the Sixers 0-1. Like you said, the Lakers are my favorite team. So y'all gonna hear a lot of Lakers in this, but my Lakers, the second championship against, if wherever you listen to this podcast, we are stationed out here in Newport News. Yeah. Allen Iverson in the finals, man. Allen Iverson's from this area. Just somebody from this area on the TV going against my favorite team. It was a win-win. My Lakers did win, but it was a win-win just to see that somebody from here could make it to that level, that stage on TV. So it was definitely an amazing moment. So that's the next finals I have on that list. The next one I have as well, the Miami Heat beating the San Antonio Spurs in 2013. I remember exactly where I was when Ray Allen hit that shot. I was in Afghanistan, man. It was 4:00 in the morning over there, and we were down at the cafeteria watching the game. And that shot, everybody screamed when he made it. That was, and then even the three before that, the one LeBron made,
yeah,
that was the crazy three.
Clutch.
That's the game he got the headband knocked off.
Yeah,
It's you have knocked his headband off. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's over.
Yeah, he turned up on him.
That was just a crazy. Like Ray Allen saved that series because he doesn't hit that shot. I think the Spurs wrapping that. The Spurs are wrapping that up. So that was big, man. Next, I have, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers beating the Orlando Magic in 2009. Why is this so significant to me? Because now I'm a little bit older at this time. I think I'm a junior in high school, and I was really into basketball then. So seeing my Lakers finally return to glory and win a championship. I was a little boy. The last time they won a championship. I was all the way about to graduate high school the next time. So we got Pau Gasol. We made all the way to the finals. We made light work of the Magic. Shout out my homeboy Marlon. He made light work of the Magic. It was Kobe was killing them. Didn't matter. Courtney Lee, you can get some too. Mikal Petrus won some. Yeah, you can get it too. It didn't matter. Dwight Howard, easy. It didn't even matter. So that was one of my favorite finals to watch. Watching the Lakers come back to relevancy and actually win a championship. And my last one, I mean, we already knew what this was. The Lakers over the Boston Celtics. Yeah. Come on, man. 2010 Finals, Game 7. It doesn't get any bigger than that. There's no bigger stage, no more classic franchises. Lakers and the Celtics, Kobe, Gasol, Lamar Odom versus Paul Pierce, Garnett, Ray Allen, and Rondo. It was an epic series, like you said, a defensive series. Everybody likes to talk about how many shots Kobe missed in Game 7. Count them rebounds, though. Count them. Y'all done forgot, man. Kobe was doing it all in that game.
Everybody was bricking in that game.
Everybody. Ron Artest hit a big shot. I think he had like 20 points that game. Derek Fisher hit some big shot. It was just a crazy environment. And to see us get revenge on the Celtics after they had beat us 2 years prior, it was just that much more sweeter. So that's definitely my favorite finals of all time, hands down.
Okay. I like that list. Throwing the Orlando Magic up there, I don't know about that. Like,
return. That was the return the club.
I like the breakdown. Yeah, I mean, the return of the Lakers have been a long time, so I respect it. And Kobe finally getting over the hump without Shaq. So I guess that was a huge ring. Was a huge ring for Lakers fans. So I understand it now that you broke it down. So I like your list a lot. I don't understand why you didn't have the Rockets versus Magic up there, but
But look, guys, that's all we have for this episode of Here's the Deal. I want to thank all the listeners out there for whatever platform you may be listening to us on. Maybe that's Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate everybody. David, anything to say to the people before we go?
Yeah, shout out to y'all. Y'all make this possible. We do this for y'all. So thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything that y'all do for us. Just any questions, anything that y'all do for us. So we love all the action we get from y'all, the appreciation. We definitely appreciate you guys. So continue, show love or show love back. And hey.
Oh, hit them with the Instagram.
Better things.
The Instagram.
Oh yeah, the Instagram.
And the Twitter.
Yeah, at Here's the Deal _ is the Instagram. And then at Here Is _ the Deal is the Twitter page. So definitely follow those on the social media platforms. And hit us up and talk to us, man. We love to talk to all the fans. We love y'all guys, all right?
Yeah, so just to clarify, just so y'all make sure we hear, the Instagram is Here's the Deal 23 _ That's where you can find us on Instagram. Once again, that's Here's the Deal 23 _ and the Twitter is at Here Is _ the Deal. So once again, the Twitter is at Here Is _ the Deal. I just want to make sure y'all get that. Make sure y'all go follow us on all the social medias. Make sure you're leaving us questions, comments, rates. It doesn't even matter. We appreciate all the engagement, guys.
All right, y'all. Here's the deal.
Thank Thank you for listening to Here's the Deal podcast. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add the Here's the Deal podcast Facebook and Twitter pages.